Hello, good afternoon everyone. How are you guys doing? Fantastic. You heard a lot from the lovely people over here about what they are doing about sustainability goals and all that. Today we have amazing people who are going to talk more about how is the sustainability goals are translating into business, right? So I would like to start up with a couple of questions. Especially in terms of the business. We heard a lot about achieving sustainability goals and all. Just to start with, I want to hear from all of you, each and every individual of you in your organization, how is the sustainability goals are aligned to your business goals, basically? Start with you, probably.
Yeah. Thank you. It's a important question. See, in Bisleri International Private Limited, sustainability has been in the forefront from the date of inception. Okay, and we are the first packaged drinking water company in India to publish the sustainability report in 21-22. Even though we are a private limited company, and we have been a plastic neutral company and water positive company. So we have been doing this for a long years. The recent regulations have helped us to formalize it in a proper documented form, yes, earlier we were doing it and then we were making our reports internally and then we didn't able to publish it. But now this is the right time and height to publish that in the public domain, and we are very happy to publish that. And if you see that the bottles being given, we have a QR code. If you scan the QR code, you will take it to the sustainability report, company sustainability report. Okay. As a company, we use a material called PET, plastic materials, and water, both the things. So water, we all know that it's an essential commodities or item, like air, water is very important for all the human being. Someone was explaining about the water thing. I would like to take a few points on the water. So water, the availability of water and the source water and the quality of water is very important. Okay, even though we take water in our bottles and other thing, why do we want a clean drinking water? The reason is water is a very important thing for any human being, for the hygiene and health of the person. And daily we consume 2 to 3 liters of water. So that's very essential. And even if you see last 10 years before, the reports on the waterborne diseases has reduced drastically. The reason is getting a good quality of water. Okay. And as a company, we not only use water, we also replenish the same quality of water which we are taking it by way of having various check dams, ponds and rainwater harvesting structure in all of our plants. So we are harvesting yearly 25 billion liters of water, and we have 250 check dams restored and constructed from 2001 onwards. And recently, last week, we had restored a reservoir in Leh. So that's the first one in Leh, Ladakh. So we will be taking it to the other parts of the country also. And as a plastic neutral company, we use a material called PET. PET is 100% recyclable and 95-96% getting recycled in the country. So here I would like to address the sustainable packaging, because we are using different types of packaging materials. We use glass, we use aluminum, and Mr. Shamir was explaining clearly on that life cycle analysis. So if you see the life cycle analysis, so the carbon footprint, the heat required, so it's very huge for other items. But the plastic is very, very convenient for all of us to use it in our regular day-to-day lives. And it has been very important, played an important role during the COVID periods also. Okay, so we take it in a different angle. With plastic and water we use, but we see that all the things is collected back and then taken it for recycling, or it is being replenished to the ground. Thank you.
The goal which has to be aligned with the sustainability, it has to be completely different. We heard from Ganesh sir about how the manufacturing practices are aligned towards their businesses. So can you throw us some light on that, especially how your group is doing that?
Yeah, so first of all, a very good afternoon to you guys, and I would like to thank Business World to give us an opportunity to be on stage and discuss about this important aspect of sustainability. I would like to, take the discussion from where Mr. Viswanathan from Randstad in the morning spoke about, what are the drivers which people are focusing on in their business and linking it back to the business strategy that you were talking about. So broadly, sustainability is all about non-financial parameters. And ESG, provides those KPIs on which the performance is getting measured on the non-financial parameters. So that is how we have to look at it. In terms of, how that can get embedded into our business strategy, again, we have to look at it from two objectives. One is in our own operations. And, one of the examples what Mr. Ganesh mentioned was with regard to, packaged water. So the banking industry also, we are taking a lot of initiatives on how this can really be embedded into our strategy going forward in our own operations. So simple examples, how we operate at our branches, how we operate ATMs, how we operate our data centers. So, these are usually large data centers, for example, they are guzzlers of energy. So, we saw in the previous session how renewable energy is now being, made available at various locations. So that is how we have to look at it, how that can get embedded into our operations. So the more we are able to adopt renewable, energy in our operations, that will help in the journey. The more we are able to use our premises more economically, in a more sustainable manner, that will enable us in our energy. A lot of, there was a discussion about digitization. So again, a lot of digitization initiatives that we are taking in our operations, that helps us in our energy, because we are trying to circumvent the use of paper, or even if we have to really use paper, can that be recycled paper? So that is how we are trying to embed sustainability, ESG metrics in our own operations. In fact, we are also looking at, water waste management. We are looking at food waste management in our premises, where, we provide canteen facilities to our employees. We are encouraging our employees to really, stop using paper cups and adopt probably ceramic cups, for their daily use in the pantry. So those are the kind of things that we are looking at in our own operations from a strategy perspective. Abhejit, you may want to talk about the financing part probably.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here. So just carrying forward the conversations that have been taking place since morning. One, you talked about as a financial institution. So as a financial institution, just to give you some perspective, as one of the largest banks in the country and one of the largest known brands, our customers, we have crores of customers. And our customers range from the smallest SHG group of women in rural India to the largest conglomerates operating all across the world. And then how do you cater to such a large, wide variety of customers so that you're creating value for them and you're creating value for yourselves? And this is again going back to what was spoken earlier about then what is the purpose of us as a financial institution? And fundamentally it is to create value. And today we are realizing that the value doesn't just get created at the investor's end, or value doesn't just get created at the customer's end. It also gets created at the community level. It also gets created in the environment that we live. And really that's the purpose we are realizing as an organization, that is where really the real value and the real purpose of us being there exists. So in a way, that is where we are also shifting in terms of what we do. As all of you would know, the banking sector is very regulated, highly regulated, but also the onus and the expectation is also the highest in the financial sector, whom we are lending to, the sectors we are lending to. That's the whole conversation that's going on today. Investing in renewables versus getting out of coal or thermal power. That's the entire conversation that's happening in the financial services arena. Now coming to, as a scheduled commercial bank in India, really, like I mentioned to you, crores of a wide variety of customers, wide variety of sectors we are in. And so our real work really is in the real economy. So while it is said that as a bank, as a service sector organization, my own carbon footprint of an entire year is less than a day's carbon footprint of a cement plant, for example, right? But we lend to that plant, and really that's where the kind of extended responsibility of a financial institution lies. And that's where we are really focusing on. A lot was spoken about investment, so green capital was spoken of, green reporting. So that is where our conversations are now also happening with our investors, where we want to be able to raise that capital to be able to extend it to the right places, extend it to the right kind of companies. And even the real economy, where they demonstrate this kind of work. All the speakers who spoke today, they're all real economy companies, and they're all investing and making a lot of effort in the kind of efforts, whether it's on renewables, technology, waste management, plastics. All this is what feeds into the kind of decision, the kind of financing they're able to attract also, because it was highlighted earlier that we are also recognizing as a financial institution that when we look at risk and opportunity, it is not just about an ROI anymore. It is also about the impact that the companies we are lending to, they are making on the environment, on the community, on society. So I think that's where the decision making of ours is also shifting. One point I just wanted to highlight, again sticking to the reporting aspect. So when people ask, what is Axis Bank, when they talk about Axis Bank, what they want to know is exactly where we are lending to. So they want to know more about our lending practices. They want to know more about our risk management practices. Again, as a financial institution, risk management becomes extremely critical. It is the fiduciary responsibility of a bank to protect its capital. So again, that's where we recognize that it is not just about credit risk or operational, it is also climate risk is a very big factor. So as a bank, we are making efforts to expand our ability to manage our climate-related risks, both at the portfolio level and also even at a project level. So there are policies in place. We're trying to, and also most importantly, we are trying to increase our own capabilities and capacities to be really able to understand this space, because as it's again highlighted, it's very, very dynamic. Things are changing constantly. So as a lender, as a financer, you always have to be on top of this space. So in a nutshell, I think that's what the focus is on at the bank.
Thank you. Ganesh, I have a very specific question to you. You know, you spoke about being plastic neutral and being into the manufacturing sector. There are a lot of rules and regulations in place, right? How is these frameworks and the certifications are relevant to your industry, and how it is helping you in order to report in an efficient manner?
Well, I see the regulations with respect to the plastic waste management, no, that's called Extended Producer Responsibility, EPR, which helped us to drill down and then go in details. See, we used to use the plastic materials in our manufacturing facilities, but we didn't go into, we were just controlling the wastages and other thing. Once the regulation is there, we started working on three pillars, the reduce, reuse and recycle pillars. So last year, we had a redesigning and re-engineering in our packaging material. So which just helped us to save around 8 to 10% of the packaging material. So last year, we have saved around 4,500 metric tons of plastics by only reducing the plastics, by redesigning and re-engineering. And reuse, you all know that Bisleri, we have 30% of the business is 20-liter jars, bigger jars. So that jar is coming back to the manufacturing place, where it is gone to a stringent processes, cleaning and filling, and again goes to the consumer. So by this process, last year we have saved 45,000 metric tons of plastics reuse. So which before we were doing this for many years, but we were not able to project it and take it up. So now it was easy for us to take it up and tell to the public, yes, company is doing this much saving of thing. Next is through EPR, last year we have consumed around 60,000 metric tons of plastics. And we had recycled 63,000 metric tons of plastic. We are 107%. We are above the targets. And by doing that also, we have reduced the virgin plastic consumptions. So overall, if you see net to net, we have calculated the CO2 emissions by this. Virgin PET emits 2.15 kg of CO2. Whereas when you recycle the plastic, it emits only 4.45 kg of CO2. That means there is a big difference. You go for a virgin and then recycle. So when we calculated last year, 208 billion kgs of CO2 emission we have reduced. So that's a big numbers to say, like. So this is all happened because of the regulations, and we have the formats and other thing. So definitely, yes, this has helped us a lot for us.
Manish, in what way regulatory bodies are helping the banking and financial sector in order to come across certain challenges wherein the reporting can help you to land up better business in the market?
So I would say, I'll actually pick up from what Abhejit mentioned. It's more about attracting capital. It's, how we are able to do access capital. So actually reporting helps us in that area significantly. It's the ecosystem in which we operate. Our stakeholders have, various expectations with regard to, what we report. One thing which we have to definitely look at is the regulatory aspect. So regulation does provide a particular framework. It provides us a standard, and it provides us, a common platform on which we can do benchmarking. So that is very important. We also need to appreciate, the principles on which regulatory reporting requirement, is developed. So there are, various jurisdictions across the world, like for example, Europe, if I can consider as one block, they have a particular expectation and, requirement on reporting. Similarly, now in the US, we can see laws coming up with regard to reporting. In India, we have SEBI, which has come up, with the business responsibility and sustainability reporting, which now they are taking forward as BRSR core, where again they want a reasonable assurance to be done across some 50 KPIs. So effectively, it provides for a benchmark. It provides for a standardized approach on reporting. And through the assurance approach, it overall gives that, confidence to our stakeholders that whatever we are reporting, is, through a robust process, and people can believe in that reporting. So that is how it, enables us to access capital, to drill, or rather to portray or rather instill confidence in our stakeholders, whether they are our customers, whether they are our regulators, whether they are our investors. So that is, I feel, the significance of reporting from a regulatory perspective. So it should not be considered only as a tick box exercise. It is much more than that.
Thank you, Manish. So in continuation to that, you spoke about whom to lend, what to lend, how much to lend, and all that, right? And Manish, as he mentioned about, just not being a tick mark activity, it has to be real time, right? Reporting. So how much is this data considered? Let's say there is a lot of terminology which has been used in the market called as greenwashing, right? Yeah. So how much of the report what we see in the financial sector, which is greenwashed versus this the actual reporting which happens, right? As per the SEBI guidelines.
Sure.
Yeah.
So first, I think I would just like to maybe just address the aspect of greenwashing itself. So see, fundamentally, what is greenwashing is that when you claim to do something which you aren't actually doing, right? So it is not just about, say, fudging of a number, for example. It is also just about misrepresenting what you're doing or who you are, right? And there are repercussions to that. That's where the whole issue of greenwashing is, and I think taking forward what Manish was referring to about BRSR, and going forward, when it comes to disclosures and especially around ESG, validation is going to be a very big challenge, which I must appreciate the SEBI has tried to address with this requirement having reasonable assurance, for example, on BRSR core, and going beyond, moving to the value chain and having some kind of assurance on that as well. So this validation aspect, naturally, it is extremely important. And also you asked about what is the kind of about the data, the impact of data. So absolutely, data is very important in any decision making, and especially as a lender, we cannot do without data. And like I mentioned, we need data. One is definitely, as a fiduciary responsibility, we have to have all checks and balances before a lending decision is made. So there's a lot of data that is asked. And like I mentioned, the kind of data that we require and which we believe will help us make a better decision, that is expanding. So like I said, it is not just about the financials anymore. We do an entire environment and social due diligence, for example, of a project or of a potential partner, which helps us get a lot more information about the viability of a potential lending decision. And that really helps. And also then, it also helps us lower our own risks. Right? So that is one. Now coming to greenwashing, so like I said, I think the challenge of validation is, I think, going to be a big challenge. All of us, the entire financial ecosystem, will have to address together. And that is where more transparency becomes extremely important. The role of stakeholders is very, very important. And I think this was the purpose, say, for example, when the first BRSR, or when it came out, the onus was also, one is, once you put out an information in the public domain, whether as of my own information or someone else, it's a reputational risk to you also. So one is, you also have to protect the data, the data that gets put out. You also have to protect that, and you have to, it becomes a reputational risk if it's wrong data. Right? So I would apply that to myself as a company, and then I would apply that to those who are applying to me for a loan, for example. So like I said, data is extremely important. Technology has been a great enabler to get good data. For large companies, everyone's moving to large systems like SAP, IBM, you're in that space. And so technology has been a great enabler in which it has allowed us first to streamline data collection, which reduces the risk of greenwashing, which can be unintentional. In my personal view, a lot of greenwashing happens because it is unintentional, because there are no clear guidelines, there are no regulations, etc. So that helps lower the incidence of greenwashing or misrepresentation. And the other is having policies in place. Now with the BRSR core, for example, now as the BRSR core, now the top 1,000 companies, when they report on the BRSR, many of them will be reporting a lot of that data for the first time ever. So it becomes a very rich source of information for institutions, not just banks, but everyone else. It will help in their decision making. So I'm actually quite excited to see how the kind of data that will come out from BRSR, and then when the BRSR core comes, that will throw out perhaps even richer data. So all of this going forward will help in strengthening the kind of data access we have and the kind of data that's getting reported.
Sorry, I'll just add on the lighter note with regard to this one. So, with regard to reporting and disclosures, taking it from greenwashing, usually we say, "Jo dikhta hai, wo bikhta hai." But beyond a particular point, wo bikhta nahi hai. So this is where, you come to greenwashing. If you just extend or go beyond that limit is when, greenwashing kicks in. So one more important aspect is that how we have to protect ourselves from that reputation risk. One way to look at it is that once we put out something in the public domain, then we are standing behind it. Then it is also our onus. The onus is on us, on how do we prove that whatever we have reported is actually supported by data. So we have to keep that in mind, and that is where that gray area between greenwashing and not washing comes in.
So in continuation to that, Manish, I have an extended question since you have brought up a right topic. How much this amount of data genuinity which you are projecting in the public domain is reflecting onto the business side? Let me ask you that, because it's a direct impact on the financial sector, right? Especially in your businesses, both of you, right? Of course, I'll come to Ganesh sir later, but I would like to hear from you first, both of you.
So definitely, the actions which our regulators are taking, say SEBI has taken on BRSR, and the coverage is, top 1,000 listed entities. Once their data is available in the public domain, then that is available for everyone to use. That will also, facilitate a lot of risk management that Abhejit talked about, a lot of, analysis that we do internally. It will also help us. And, one of the important aspects for banking, when we look at scope 3 emissions, for us, the significant carbon footprint is through the scope 3 emissions, which is, the portfolio that we are lending to. Now, once this data is available in the public domain and it is supported through an assurance process, then I can blindly pick up that data, use it for our own analysis. So that is, really the significance of having this information in the public domain.
Well, I'll just extend the thing. I see the top 1,000 companies had to publish their reports, but as I mentioned earlier, as a private limited company, we are not listed, but still we are just publishing. The reason is we wanted to be a role model actually. Second is, yes, there is a huge investment required when you wanted to maintain a sustainability. All our plants we have converted to a high speed and high technology machineries. The reason is we have invested huge on that multi-crores. We have got the benefit out of that also. So the one is the productivity has increased, the production efficiency has increased. Second, the wastages has reduced. Third one, the manufacturing cost, the power consumption has drastically reduced. So this is totally, it has helped us also and to the consumer. So we are able to deliver our product to a consumer at an affordable price, even though there has been increase in the raw material prices, the diesel, the electricity and other things. So definitely this has helped us to turn around our business also, and not only upgrading our business and also helping the public to see that we give the best quality material at an affordable price.
Thank you, Ganesh. You took away the cue. Actually, I wanted to ask, since you are a private limited company, so how are you managing this? But anyways, thank you so much for that answer. Continuation to that, I have another question to you, sir. You heard Abhejit talking about the value chain, right?
Yeah.
Coming to value chain in the manufacturing sector, especially it matters a lot, especially in terms of supply chain. You mentioned about, right time and reaching at the right price, right? And of course, when you are doing that, there will be a lot of quality aspects come into picture. So how is this value chain and versus the supply chain is helping you in terms of the transparency and reporting that through?
Yeah, you see our complete value chain from the manufacturing process till it goes to the consumer, we have a complete digital systems to say like. All the processes are being monitored by the departments. So when we procure a materials, the procurement department has a separate software to see that the procurement is happening from the right source, from the approved vendors. Okay. So there also we ensure that the vendors follow the sustainable practices and also the safety practices in the plant. We don't get from other vendors. If the vendors are not following the systems, we don't purchase from them. Also, all our manufacturing facilities have a software which is embedded with our manufacturing processes. So the reports are being daily uploaded on that, and we have quality testing as you are referring into that. So I'd like to add one more point to that. See, packaged drinking water and baby foods are only two items which is covered by two certifying body in the country, the Bureau of Indian Standard and Food Safety Standard Authority of India. But all other foods are controlled only by the Food Safety Standard Authority of India. So we have very strict controls on the quality of the products which we are sending to the market. And each product, the packaged drinking water going to the market is being tested stringently, and 83 tests are being done. So then after that only it is being passed and then going to the market. And also mentioned about the other logistic part. Logistic part also we have a complete documented and digital systems. We have approved logistic, the vehicles and the conveyance, which takes the stocks to the distributor and retailers. And we have a after sales customer service department also. So if you see, the entire value chain is covered with the systems. So we have a link. If anything is going wrong, we immediately know that what to be taken, and the corrective action is taken immediately.
Thank you, Ganesh. I have a question to you. Manish spoke about data center. He touched upon that. Especially, our country being a digital native and getting onto the digital currency front, and you see a lot of heavy data centers getting built up. A lot of energy getting consumed and all that, and of course the reporting has to be done, right?
Yeah.
So how is Access as an organization is envisaging this particular landscape of growth in terms of energy consumption and reporting?
Sure. This is a good question. It's also, as a bank, it's a tricky question, a trickier question. Just to give you some perspective, Axis Bank has close to 5,000 branches, and we are present in each and every part of this country. Now, how do you ensure that you're getting good quality data, and not just environment data, every kind of data, the kind of employees in there, the kind of funds being handled by that branch, So it's a very, very, in a way, a complex and also very critical exercise, because for a financial institution, data privacy, data security, information security becomes extremely critical. I'm not saying that it's not critical for any other sector, but because we are in the business of money, it becomes extremely critical to manage that. Now, coming to data, you said, but no, what's the importance? So, one is definitely there are systems in place. Now the aim is to, so how Access operates is that everything happens, data gets collected centrally. So when I'm sitting here I sit in Mumbai with my team, and our job is to really gather this kind of data, that's necessary data, and then put it out in the public domain. Right? Now, like it's mentioned here, that once you put something out in the public domain, you have to ensure that it is correct. You have to ensure that it is validated, because it is about your reputation also. Right? So that is how we put out data. So again, there are multiple platforms now. As an institution, we get assessed all the time on what is our what are we doing on sustainability, whether it's on our own operations, what are we doing in terms of our financing, what are we doing in terms of our diversity, for example. So there's a lot of onus and there's a lot of scrutiny also on what we're doing. So really, I think data it becomes very, very important. But I just want to highlight on one very important point. I know our time's up. See, data is not the end in itself, and reporting is not an end in itself. Good reporting needs to lead to good decision making. And I think that is what should be the focus of anyone who's in that position. When you're looking at data, that's what one should look at it. How will it help me do better, take a better decision? Yes, I'll end with that. Thank you.
That's a very right approach. So I just want to have a last question I would like to, give your parting, response to that. How is your, basically your sustainability goals with your respective organizations are helping the environment? Because the moment everybody thinks about sustainability, it thinks about environment, right? So how in each of your sector, probably if you can give a couple of highlights.
Yeah, see this SDG goals, 17 goals. So 7 to 8 of that are matching to us actually. No poverty, hunger. Then you see life below water, life above land, gender, another thing. So as an industry, we are very happy to tell that we are 7 to 8 of the sustainability goal we are able to meet around. And this has been very interesting for us. Because these goals have to be achieved, and there is a standard for that. So it has helped us to further enhance our things, our working style, our modus of system operations. So everything has improved after this reporting actually. So I think this is a very long journey, and definitely we'll have lots of good things to come. And earlier spoken by our one of the fellow panelists on the green credits. The government has come out with a draft regulation for the green credits, and June 2023 they have circulated. So it's not only for a company or for an institute, it's going to be for an individual also, the credits. So if you do a good job, you save waste, you save pollution, you save energy, you do some plantation, you are going to get a credit out of that. So definitely it's going to be each and every one's individual responsibility, and support the government, because this is not only to for us, it is for all the public, and it is for the entire globe. So this is a very important topic, the people tell that this is going to be a sustainability revolution, to say, like the industrial revolution. Thank you.
I think I mentioned about it, from a banking financial sector perspective, we are looking at sustainability in two areas. One is in our own operations, and second is in the portfolio that, our portfolio companies, which Abhejit talked about. So in our own operations, obviously, we have to contribute, we are contributing, positively to the environment by, adopting more reuse, recycle kind of concepts. In our portfolio, it is more that if we can channelize financing to newer technologies, which will, facilitate climate adaptation, mitigation, etc. And that is how we will probably be contributing positively to the environment. One thing, you know, as a parting thought which I would like to leave here is that, see, we have always been a highly regulated country. It's not that, you know, we were not focusing on this or we did not know about this. It's only that now the requirement is to look at it a little differently and really come out in the open and talk about it and, you know, probably write about it.
What was your question again, Bhalinder?
How is your sustainability goals are helping the environment?
Sure, sure. No, certainly I think, again, and I'm just kind of repeating what Manish said, but two things. As an organization, what we're doing, like I said, we ourselves as a very large organization, 5,000 branches, multiple offices, close to 1 lakh employees now. And so as an organization, what we're doing, and that's why because we have a lack of employees, diversity becomes a very significant material topic for us. But coming on the environment, what we're doing in the branches becomes very important. I think someone spoke about digitization. Digitization and digitalization has been a significant game changer for us, not just from the point of view of being able to give a better experience to the consumer, but also to be able to reach the farthest corners of the country. Now, we don't need a brick and mortar branch, for example, to get more people into the banking space, into formal financing. So I think technology has been a great enabler. And on the environment piece, again, today you can open a bank account without exchanging a single sheet of paper, for example. Now there's tons of data that gets transferred without having any physical exchange of any kind. So I think that's, from the environment point of view, that's a great enabler, I would say. Certainly there are challenges. I was just reading AI, for example, the servers you mentioned about the kind of water resource, energy required, cooling required to run the massive servers that are running the global economy today. But again, from an environment point of view, whom we are financing, like I said, our financing is to the real economy, and I think during the course of this morning, we heard how the real economy, the kind of effort being put in terms of technology adoption, innovation. That is where really then, you know, the real contribution will come as an FI, that we are in a position to support that innovation and that advancement. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhejit. Thank you, Manish. Thank you, Ganesh, sir. As you know, just a parting remark from my side, you know, as a proud IBMer, I would say we have been declaring our sustainability report and sustainability goals for the past 15 years, if I'm not wrong. Though the reporting came into the limelight very recently, but if you can get in touch with me, I can show you the reports, a number of reports for the past 15 years. And it's not just in one country, but we have been doing across regions. And Sir told about BRSR. We are aligned to that. We are aligned to GRI standards, CDP standards. You name any standard across the world, we are there. Not just for ourselves. The point I'm trying to make is we are helping large organizations, large to small organizations, any kind of organizations to achieve their sustainability goals. If you declare net zero, how do we help you out there with the help of technology to achieve that net zero, right? So that's our goal, basically. So with that, I am done, and thank you, Business World, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much for the panelists here.